This is Orbea's Rise.
Orbea's design goal for the Rise was to create an electric mountain bike that's got the look and feel of a traditional mountain bike, but with the power and the range to ride further than you have before. They wanted to create a smooth and natural riding experience, and key areas such as the bike weight, battery range, motor power, and the user interface were all key considerations when Orbea developed the bike.
It is a super light, full carbon electric mountain bike. It's based around the Shimano EP8 that Orbea have custom spec'd, and it's called the Shimano EP8 RS, and it gives 60 Newton meters of torque. It's got a full internal battery, and you can get a range extender. And to me, it looks like such a fine example of a well thought out electric mountain bike.
The bike is almost indistinguishable from a regular pedal mountain bike, with clean lines, a slim frame, and a super minimalist look. It's actually difficult to tell that this contains a motor and battery. And because the bike is so light, it doesn't need to use e-bike specific components. So the Fox 36 fork and the DPX2 shock are the spec that you'd find on a regular non-powered bike.
Now get this comes in at around 18 kilos. So you've got full fat electric mountain bikes that are between 22 and 26 kilos. It's significantly lighter.
The bike has a minimalist look out the front too, and because I spec'd it in this raw carbon finish, I really do think it's one of the classiest and stealthiest looking e-bikes out there. Orbea have designed the bike's geometry to be a sharp handling trail bike, with 29er wheels, 140mm travel out the back, with 150 fork up the front. I'm riding the XL size bike, and at a height of 192 centimeters, it fits well. I'm riding in the south of the UK on a mixture of tight windy trails, with tons of routes, drops, jumps, and technical features. First thing that is immediately obvious is just how quick the bike is to turn, maneuver, and accelerate. It's incredibly quick to move around. It pops and changes directions, and it's got a huge amount of flow on the trails. It's a really unique feeling and very different ride to the full-fat, heavier e-bikes. It's so close to a pure mountain bike experience. The low weight and the way that the weight is distributed on the bike provide instant confidence on the trails. The bike absolutely shreds on the tight and twisty berms. There's huge amounts of grip from the Maxxis tyres, and it pops, jumps and launches easily when you need it to.
I tell you what, the way this bike feels, it is so light, chuckable and nimble. It's light and agile and nippy. And the way that it kind of compresses down into the berms and pops back up, it's very different to a full fat e-bike. A full fat, you can plow through everything. This bike has a more engaging ride, so you can be more active as a rider, pushing it into the berms and feeling the bike rise. And because it's light, it pops up ever so easily. It's a very natural feeling bike to ride, the way it tips into the berms and moves around, but you've got the powerful motor. You get the natural feeling pedal bike, but with the speed of the e-bike exiting the berms and on the flat sections, just to give you that extra boost.
Alright, let's wind it back a little bit and take a look at the Rise concept that Orbea have developed. The designers had an idea for a super light e-bike many years ago, but the technology to make it happen wasn't out at the time. Fast forward a few years, and Orbea worked with Shimano to create a custom version of the EP8 motor, and Orbea added a custom tune to it. Orbea could have easily put in the stock motor with EP8 tune, but they had 4 cornerstones that they wanted to achieve a perfect balance on, and they were power, weight, range, and the rider interface. So the Rise concept was born, and the EP8 with the custom 60 Nm tune on Orbea's rider profile was crafted. Add a 360 Wh internal battery containing the latest 21700 cells, and move any distractions like displays, and even the power button was placed out of the rider's view. All of these design decisions are deliberate to fit into Orbea's concept of the pure mountain bike experience. But how does this all work though in real world riding?
So the bike is really discreet. There's no displays on it or any kind of indications as to your battery other than a couple of LEDs on the front. Personally, I find it quite difficult to judge where your battery is. It only kind of gets to a certain range and then it will go red to signify that you're in the lower part of the battery. But if you're a Garmin user, the display on the Garmin watch is brilliant. It's a custom display and it shows the mode you're in, the cadence you do in, the approximate range you've got left, and more importantly, the battery percentage.
When the trails get a little bit rougher, the bike really does handle it well. I thought that the trail-focused geometry might make it feel a little bit nervous on some of the rougher sections on the Surrey Hills, but actually the bike is really capable. Even the smaller 180mm rotors were fine on these short, sharp trails, but on longer descents, they might have faded. The only thing I'd like to change was the bar height. A 30mm riser bar would have been a bit more comfortable for me. I'm a fan of this EP8 motor tune on this bike. It really does reward you, especially when you keep the cadence high between the sweet spot of around 75 to 90 RPM. I really do think that this lightweight package is a perfect balance of power to weight.
I've got to say it works very, very well for this type of platform. And in fact, that 60 Newton meters is plenty powerful enough for riding undulating trails or steep climbs. It's a very, very sweet package. A couple of things, it's still got the rattle. You can hear it when you're going downhill. You do tune out to it, to be honest with you, but it is there. I've got to say, I think Shimano have improved something in the production process though, because it doesn't sound as noisy as some of the earlier motors that I've tested, but it's definitely there. I really like the neat integration, but I would like a bit more feedback when you've changed modes, like a little kind of beep. You can't tell really when you've changed the mode. You get the tactile feedback on the button, but I would like an audible beep to let me know that I've changed mode, because just looking at the LED, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to see, and I'm not always kind of looking down at the mode on my watch to see if it's actually changed. And I think personally for me, I would have gone for the small screen instead of this junction box, just personal preference. But overall, the motor system, the EP8 RS, is the sweet spot in terms of power and the performance and the size and the weight. It's a lightweight motor. It's very, very compact. The bike looks super stealth, and I think overall, as a concept, it works brilliantly.
I've been getting really decent range from the bike too. At 85 kilos, rides of 3,000 foot of elevation and 25-mile rides. But subscribe if you want to see my range test video on the bike coming soon. The Orbea Rise really is an outstanding e-bike. It manages to blend hugely capable riding abilities with its good geometry, well thought out component spec and overall bike weight, but the motor packs a decent punch. It's not quite in the full fat power league, but it's not too far off. The weight is significantly lighter than most other e-bikes, And that creates a unique flavour. And there's really not much out there that can match it.